BD, why you get lost again?
So, this is the Herald Brat 125cc little motorbike. It's a perfect bike for the beginner. Somebody who's just passed their CBT and they're looking to get a 125. It's a really good choice, really good to learn on. Slightly heavier than some of the other bikes on the market, but in some way that's quite a good thing when you're learning to aim to get your bigger license, the A1 category in the UK, for a much larger bike. But what sort of bike could you go for once you've got your A license and you're looking for something a bit bigger than a 125? So yeah, well, abracadabra, let's go Susu! Wow, it's gone to the gym and grown some muscles and it's turned into a Suzuki GSX-8S. Bit of a mouthful that is, GSX-8S. I don't know why they call it that. I don't know why they call it something a bit more simple, like a Suzuki Falcon or Phoenix or something. It looks a bit like that round there, where the sort of like the wings go around. But yeah, this is a what is this? This is a fairly large bike from what I'm compared to from a 125. So moving up to this is yeah, quite different. So it's a 4-stroke parallel twin, about 84 horsepower, I think. Although with that exhaust there, the aftermarket exhaust, I think that puts another 4 or 5 extra horsepower onto that. Upside down front forks with dual brakes on the back and look like Nissan calipers on there. And a single disc Nissan brake on the back as well, and it's got this this aftermarket exhaust, which is yeah, makes it sound something else, which I'll start up in a minute. It's a mono shock at the rear, adjustable, although I found, I mean, I don't really going to take any passengers really, any pillions, but if you need to adjust it, you can get a C-spanner in there, but I've been told it's easy to just undo this and bolt and fold it down a tiny bit gently, and you can get a spanner in there a bit more easier. So a little bit of a tip there. Just going around to the front, it's got LED lights at the front. I wasn't too sure about the LEDs, look at it, but I'm actually coming around to it with the shape of it now. A little fly screen on there, and surprisingly, which comes as standard on this model, and that is a quickshifter. Now, I've not really used a quickshifter before. I'm getting used to it, but once I started using it, it's not too bad actually. It's really smooth, and it seems to blip the engine, especially as you shift down. I've sort of used it from third into fourth, fifth and sixth, and then back down to third again. We use the clutch from third down, second and first. So you still need to use the clutch. I'll put a load of spec on the screen in a little while. But what does it sound like? That's the most important bit, I think. So let's see if we can get this thing started up. It's got a nice LCD display there, really clear. And it's got Suzuki's one-touch start system. So check it's in neutral, and all you do, literally, is you just press this button and it starts up. Sounds nice. So let's just see what it sounds like with exhaust. Sounds pretty good. And that's with the baffle in as well. You can actually take the baffle out, I think. And makes it sound a lot louder. What else is there to say about it? Not much storage on this, not much storage at all. This, yeah, you put your key in, this comes off. This is like a rear shroud thing. I have got the rear seat for this as well. It's just easy, you can put the rear seat on. Not much space in there, just enough space for like a puncture repair kit and a little tiny wheel disc lock. That is about it. Fuel tank, well, that's 14 litres, and I don't know what the claimed mileage is, but I've just filled it up this morning and it says on the clock I've got 126 miles to empty. Not sure if that's quite right. Might be able to squeeze a bit more out of that. I suppose it all depends on how you ride it. If it's a bit spirited, if you're riding it like fairly sensibly, you'd probably get a few more miles out. But range is not that good. But I haven't had it long enough to figure out how long that will actually take me really. So I shall see what happens with that. The ones which are released from the factory come out and there's like a tail which comes out to about here, which combines the rear lights and the brake lights. But this one's got a tail tidy, which I think makes it look rather nice. The only problem is with this, the only downside is in the rain, in the wet, in the dirty old weather, you do get a lot of backsplash coming off here. I suppose because it's not sticking out very far. But overall, it's a really nice bike. And so I'll put the specs up on the screen in just a little while. But most importantly, how does it ride? As I say, it's completely different to what I've been used to with the 125. Now it's got some power modes on this. I can't remember what Suzuki call it, but there's A, B and C. A is very spirited riding. It's like riding a rocket ship to the moon. Probably use it for track days and such like. B is normal, everyday sort of riding, a little bit spirited, but everyday riding. And you've got C, which is sort of for wet weather, cautious riding when it's a bit more icy like it is today. Traction control, 4 settings, 1, 2, 3 and off. 1 is not a lot, 2 is middle of the road, 3 is a lot when you'd use that with C and wet weather, and off is, well, off. One thing you have to remember with this though, unlike some other bikes, if you switch the traction control off and you get home and you switch the engine off, when you jump on the bike again and switch the engine on again, the traction control remains off. So you have to remember that. You might have to put it on if you really want it on. On a day like this today, because it's quite icy and cold, I've been riding with the traction control on to number 3 and power on number C. I think that does something to the throttle. It winds the throttle back a little bit. Easy to fit stuff, easy to fit like these crash protectors, these spindle protector thingamajigs, crash protectors at the back for sliding, and these little paddock stand bobbin things. But I think what really looks good business is this exhaust. It does really sound nice. So yeah, let's see what it feels like. We'll take it for a ride.